Break, so I'm going to answer the questions that you asked me on Instagram earlier this week, so let's get started. So I don't really eat much on campus, believe it or not. I skip lunch usually. I'm guilty of sort of going to the vending machine occasionally in Marac for my lunch. I probably do that more than I should, so I guess my favorite thing to eat is probably trail mix. So William Shatner's coming to visit us to do the Chancellor's Colloquium on May 11th. He is the person most famous for playing Captain James T. Kirk on the original Star Trek series. And as many people know, I'm a big fan of the original Star Trek series, so I'm really excited to meet him and to ask him about that. I know he's done other things in his career as well, and he probably will want to talk about those things also, but we're going to have a big screening of The Wrath of Khan, and he'll give a little talk, and I'll get to do a talk show style Q&A with him, so it's really exciting for me. Well, I think being a chancellor is rewarding because you get to make the decisions that impact people's lives and their careers. And I think one of the most fulfilling things that happen to me as chancellor are things that highlight people's accomplishments. So when a student or a faculty member or a staff member wins a big award, I get really juiced. And it's now at this point in my career, it's more exciting for someone else to be recognized than it is for me to be recognized. So the fact that I get to do things that provide an environment that allows people to be successful both now and then later in their careers is really why I do this job. Well, diversity has really been an important part of my whole professional life. I've been involved with various organizations throughout my career, and many that I'm still affiliated with, including the National Society of Black Engineers and the GEM Consortium, which gives fellowships to underrepresented students in the STEM fields for graduate study. I'm also involved in several fraternity-like honorary organizations, including one called the Executive Leadership Council, which is black executives of a certain level. And all of those organizations have various initiatives involved with enhancing diversity and giving people of color, specifically African Americans, access to career paths which they may not have otherwise had. So those are things I do outside of Davis, as I also do many things on campus as well, and I think this is an important contribution that I'm able to make. My all-time favorite song, which is on the greatest album ever produced, is by Stevie Wonder, and the album is called Songs in the Key of Life, and the song that's on that album, which I like, is called As. It has the greatest lyrics in the history of music. Yes, we have job shadowing. We started that program last year. We started with just the Chancellor's office, but now it's expanded to the deans as well. So any student who would like to be a shadow can sign up on the website. Come follow me around for a day. As much of the day as you can. If you're game, I get up at 6 a.m. to work out. You can start then, and my day usually ends around 11:30 or midnight, but I don't expect that people want to be with me that whole time. But I've heard from my shadows, I've had one a month for the past several months, and I've heard that they all enjoyed the experience. Several of them are now my Facebook friends, and we still interact over the course of the day. Yeah, food insecurity was a significant concern that we tackled last year in our basic needs task forces. There was one specifically on food insecurity, and a couple of the outcomes that have resulted from that task force in particular. Aggie Compass has opened. We relocated the pantry and have given them renovated space and better stocked the pantry. I was happy to be a part of the ribbon cutting actually just last week, and really excited. Lachelle and I gave a donation to the pantry to keep it so well stocked and keep it going, and we'll continue to try to support that activity because I think it's important. So I'm game to shoot some pool. I'm not very good. I'll just make that disclaimer. I actually do have a pool table at my house in Atlanta, but I did that for the guests because I'm not very good, as I said. So nothing would please me more than for us at Davis to have more African American students enrolled, and we have actually made some progress. I think the last class last fall was one of the largest classes ever, about more than 200 students. We've ticked up from a 3% overall African American enrollment to about 4%, so we have made some quantitative progress. We don't want to just increase the numbers, though. I want to stress that. We want all these students to be successful. So we want to make sure that they have the resources they need to academically compete and graduate successfully from UC Davis. But this is certainly a high priority item for me, and it's been one for my whole career. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. Actually affects people even as high up as chancellors. I've had that imposter syndrome from time to time. For people that don't know what it is, it's when you think, how did I get in this situation? I'm not really good enough to compete or good enough to contribute in my current role or my career. And it affects people of color disproportionately. I think there's several ways to address it. One is you got to maintain self-confidence and self-esteem. Two, you got to talk to people and have a support system, a support network. And three, if you need to talk to a professional therapist, you need to go do that, because mental health is an important thing, and you can't take it for granted. So, I try not to let it go to my head. I try to be a normal person and keep being the Gary May I've always been. And I speak to people. I'm polite to people. I stop for pedestrians and cyclists and crosswalks as well. And but I am really happy when students wave or say hello or give me one of these. It's always a treat when I get acknowledged by our students or our faculty or our staff when I walk around campus. Well, my philosophy when I was a student, particularly when I was an undergraduate student, was, I say three things. I say them all the time: work hard, play hard, and pray hard. So, I think if you have a certain work ethic, your own skills and your talents got you here, and they will get you out of here and get you out of here successfully if you work hard enough. And I think you also have to be well-rounded, so you should have social life and athletics or clubs or whatever it is to help you be well-rounded, or friends and that sort of thing. And, for me, faith is important, and it helps me to get through the adverse times when things don't seem to be going my way. So I would encourage students to think about that. Thanks for your questions. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of the questions. There were many of them, but I hope to do this more in the future, and go Ags.